Hi guys, we're the
Why not energetic today?
Sorry, you know what I'm like when I've been out the day before. I'm just so like mellow and tired.
Sorry. Anyway, hi guys, we are the 2 Cents Podcast. It's your girl Ife,
and it's Diana.
And today we have a special guest.
Pew, 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 pew.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Sabrina.
Thanks for coming. Really appreciate you being here
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Welcome. How's your week been?
It's been good. Really busy as usual.
Yeah. Working,
placement, working. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first week I haven't done hair in a long time.
Oh, really?
No, yeah. The first week I haven't done hair. But it's been really nice because I could just chill.
Okay. Oh, so you like in your spare time you could just like
chilling.
relax.
Yeah.
That's good.
What about you, Sabrina? How's yours been?
Busy. Working, uni, kids, busy. Literally.
What are you studying currently?
So I'm doing my master's in human trafficking, modern slavery and organised crime.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
something like, you know.
Something small, you know.
That
crazy.
Sounds intense.
Yeah,
How are you finding it? Like,
I was at the point where I was going to throw the iPads out the window because it's a lot of reading and the books aren't cheap. I had to get my sister to buy one for me. It was like £58.
Wow.
And I was like, for one book. Okay.
Oh,
but it's a lot of reading. I didn't expect that. And I feel like the course is for those that are just students, that don't have anything else to do, that are not doing anything else. But we're pushing on.
You can do this. You've got this.
Thank you.
How long have you got left?
So I started like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, very new, very recent. Oh, right.
It's just I say it's just, but it's a 1-year course, so it's very intensive. It's like everything.
Oh, yeah.
Fit into one thing.
I did have the option to go part-time and do it over 2 years, but I know myself, if it's 2 years, it seems too far away for me, so I can't process it. So 1 year, that's all I keep telling myself.
One and done.
Yeah.
Literally one and done. So pray for me, guys.
You'll be good.
You've got this.
Thank you.
Sana, how's your week been?
How has my week been? Do you know what? Good.
That's good.
Like,
What did you get up to?
I'm just working really. And then I went out yesterday, which is why I'm mellow today. Because I'm
mellow.
Very tired. But yeah, it's been good and just been getting on with it really.
Good.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got Sabrina here today.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What's your background?
Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, because obviously I know what you do, but for the people at home that don't know what you do you want to explain?
So should we work from now backwards? I think that's probably easier.
Yeah.
So at the moment, as I'm doing my master's degree, but also working, I own my own business. So I train professionals around county lines, gangs, drugs, the whole shebang. And I'm also part of a charity called Daddyless Daughters that we support, mentor girls aged, I don't know what our starting age is, I think it's 13 to 25, who have grown up without a father figure and have experienced complex trauma, etc. So we do like the outreach work, intensive one-to-one support with them. So that's what I do now. So before I was doing this, I was working for the last maybe 9 years, working with young people, like direct one-to-one work with young people that had been exploited, either sexually or criminally. So yeah, providing that space for them, that intensive one-to-one support. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with the young people. I just didn't like to get caught up with the office politics, and, you know, and because of my background, which obviously I'll get into in a sec, I'm always looked at as like, why is she here? Type of thing. Because I work within like social services mostly. And yeah, I get a lot of pushback. So it got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I actually know more about this than you lot. So why am I not just training you people? And then the reach is further because I can only hold a caseload of like 10, 15 maximum. So that's my reach. So if I train other professionals, the reach is
bigger, yeah.
Yeah. And then prior to that, so basically for myself, I was exploited criminally from, I believe, 8 years old. But yeah, I know the face, everyone does that. But it was by a family member. And then that exploitation, it just spilled over into adult life, like deep into my adult life. I'd say, I think my calculations are correct. Next year makes 10 years that I've been out of everything and along the straight path. So I use my experiences and everything. That's what I do. I use that to support the young people and also to train the professionals. So they're like,
that was
speechless.
And sigh.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
I don't know where to start either.
First of all, I think it's absolutely amazing what you're doing. I think it's so important. And I feel like, sexual exploitation, I feel like I was more aware of, but criminal exploitation, I don't think I didn't even know they had a term necessarily.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so amazing that you're bringing light to that and making everyone aware of it, because a lot of people will find themselves in situations that, they're not really aware of, they don't have the knowledge of, they're not educated in. So yeah, I just think it's absolutely amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So just to get into it, what's criminal exploitation? Like, what's the difference between that and sexual? I know what sexual exploitation is, because you see that quite a lot everywhere, especially towards like girls being exploited in that and trafficked. But when it comes to criminal, what is that like?
So criminal exploitation is pretty much the same framework as sexual exploitation, but instead of exploiting the young person sexually, they exploit them criminally. So it would be sending them on county lines, sending the young people, making the young people sell drugs, just exploiting young people into criminality, basically. But the most common form is county lines.
And like gangs and stuff. So all the grooming and stuff like that with young boys
Absolutely.
or girls, that's all under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And also, just to make it clear, a lot of people think it's very black and white that sexual exploitation is girls, criminal exploitation is boys. And it's not the case. It crosses over. I was criminally exploited. I was never sexually exploited. So it crosses over. But girls that are criminally exploited usually go under the radar, as did I, because it's not seen as something that happens to girls. So, and I'm seeing even now, as an adult, things have not really, the attitudes towards criminal exploitation in girls hasn't actually changed much from when I was going through it myself.
Really?
Yeah. And it's quite weird, I wouldn't say weird, shocking to hear you say that, you've never really heard of it. It's been going on, and that's that for a lot of people. And it's quite sad because it happens. It's happening every day and no one's really immune from it. It could happen to anybody. So yeah, just trying to help where I can, really.
So like, from your experience, obviously you said that you was criminally exploited when you was 8. When did you actually start to realise that something's actually not right? Like, what is this? Like, or were you kind of, because obviously when you're young, you're on a high, you think it's cool. So like, when was the age where you started to think, oh my God, this is a bit like...
I don't think there was an age, to be honest with you, because from the age of 8 years old, I was introduced to the world of drug dealing, guns, things like that. So to me, it was definitely my norm. I thought everybody knew about it. I thought everybody knew how to wash cocaine. I thought everybody knew how to weigh and bag out weed. It was so normal for me. So when I left that situation of being exploited by the family member, I then got with someone who was into the same things. And for me, like now, it's a major red flag, like, no way. But for me, it was just normal. I didn't know that it wasn't, I just didn't know that it wasn't normal. And then obviously, because it started with me from such a young age, it was just literally all I knew. And as I got older, things just progressed. Like my involvement in things just progressed, but I just thought it was a natural progression because of my age. I was getting older. And it wasn't until I got a 3.5-year prison sentence that I realised, well, maybe this isn't the way to go. So that's what stopped me. And I've been out 9 years now. So next year makes 10 years.
So how was that? Like, how was that whole experience? Like, did you think, so it was up until you had to get your sentence that you realised, oh my God, this is crazy? Like,
yeah,
would you say
I
that?
realised, so when I first went into my cell, I remember sitting down and honestly, most people cry. I just sighed, like big sigh of relief. I just felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my
Oh,
shoulders.
right.
And it sounds quite corny, but it was the first time ever that I had like time or chance to like listen to my own thoughts. And that's when I realised like, actually, I don't like selling drugs. I don't like bringing drugs into the country. I don't like bringing drugs all over the country either. I hate it. And then I just had to kind of get to know myself really, like, who am I? What do I like? What, do you know what I mean? What am I doing with life? And by then I had my 3 kids. So it was like, what am I showing them? What am I teaching them? Because for me, it was all I knew. But then I didn't want that to be all my kids knew. So, yeah.
And so would you say that you kind of like, quote unquote, found yourself
Absolutely.
in prison?
Absolutely. I realised who I was.
Mm.
And it was a hard process. I try to explain it in like the easiest way I can explain it is like, you know, you've got like a tower of like building blocks. I literally had to break it all down. Like break down every part of myself as to why do I do this? Why do I think like that? Why do I react to this in this way? And why do I not like this? Do you know what I mean? This trait in this person. So I had to literally break that all down, then build myself back up. Like, what do you like? What are your interests? What do you want to do? What do you want for your kids? So I had to, break myself down to bring myself back up again and to be the person that, that I feel I am today. Well, not really am today because I've grown a lot since then as well, but put me on the right path as to, myself really.
Mm. And so what was like, if you don't mind going into it,
Not at all.
what was your kind of day-to-day like process when you were involved in the
So
the
early stages before I had kids, it was literally anything goes. I'd just be there doing whatever. I'd be bagging up drugs, taking drugs from one part of the country to another. Literally, it was non-stop, but it's weird because I did kind of it felt like I had 2 lives because I had that side, but then I used to work, I used to go to school. And
so he was like a normal teenager,
Oh, right.
And
Living a
like
double
even
life.
now, because I now speak about things I've been through, people that I went to school with, they very much message like, oh my God, we would never have had a clue.
Were you quiet at school? Were you like bubbly?
I think I was bubbly, but then there were times when I was very like into myself. I had a really bad temper. I was that girl that she look at me funny and we're getting it cracking. Yeah, we're getting it cracking. And I think looking back, that's just because of the trauma and stuff that I was experiencing. I was like deep in it. I was literally living off a survival mode. And it's quite weird because, you know, sometimes like we're at work, it's like a Tuesday. And we're like, oh, just to get to the end of the week and we'll be all right.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, all right, I need to get to the next hour. Okay, we got to that hour, we're good. Let's get to the next hour. And I was literally living off of, I think, adrenaline and just 20, and that you can't settle, you can't really breathe. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it was like, I had 2 lives. I was working, then the kids came along, so I was working, I was a mum, and then I had this other side that no one really, I don't know. I find it hard when people say they had no idea. I feel like, okay. But we have to take it at that.
How was it like being a mum, and then also were you ever scared or like?
My only fear was going to prison and being separated from my children, and then that happened. So
how was that like?
Worst thing ever. And to be honest, it's like my biggest regret because it affected my kids all in different ways. And even to this day, certain things would pop up, and I feel like my older 2 kids, they're a lot older. So my son's 23 and my daughter's 19. So sometimes we talk about things, and then sometimes it's like one of us would say, like, we don't want to talk about that. We can't talk about that. It was awful because there was always a really small chance that I wouldn't get a custodial sentence. And I think I held on to that. But it didn't go my way. So
sorry, what's a custodial sentence?
I don't know what that is.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I was even like, there was a chance that I wouldn't be sent to prison.
Oh.
It was like a slim chance, very slim. But yeah, I held on to that. But as I say, yeah, went the other way. But I did when I knew about all this, I approached social services, explained the situation. I was just like, you don't need to look after my kids till I come out. And it was like they don't know what to do, blah blah blah. But they did. They looked after my older. Well, so it was quite strange. So at first, they found a foster placement, but the foster placement she only had 2 spaces. So I remember speaking to my son on the phone, and he said, "It's all right. Leave the girls together, and they can send me out wherever."
That's so sweet.
So that was, yeah, awful to hear. And then when I was in prison, first like doing your induction and all that, I realized there was a mother and baby unit on there, in the prison. Now my youngest at the time, she was about 8 months old, and you could have your child in there like up until 18 months. So I was like, all right, things have been all right. So what we do, get the youngest in, so that frees up a space, so then your boy can go with the other girl. And that's what I did. So it took about, I think it was quick because it was like 4 weeks because they drug test you. And that's usually the longest part that you're waiting for. And I don't do drugs, so it just came back clean. So I had to sit on a panel. And then I got my youngest in with me. So then the same day, like my boy went. So my eldest 2 were together. But they stayed a lot with my sister because where they were placed was like round the corner from my sister's. But my sister couldn't have them because my sister's actually blind. So social services just wouldn't allow for it. But they spent a lot of time with my sister. My sister really, she stepped up. So it wasn't ideal, but
yeah.
You kind of have to make the most.
Do you think social services and like that were like quite accommodating and
trying
to support you as much? Because you know sometimes people say, "Oh, they're just trying to do us over," but do you feel like they were?
I'll be honest. I don't like social services, and that's me being as honest as I can. Growing up, I had about 9 or 10 social workers. None of them liked me. I didn't like none of them. So I had a terrible experience with them. But at the same time, when I was going through the thing where I was possibly going to be sentenced, I didn't want to. I just felt there were no family members that I wanted to have my kids. So I felt, well, I have to approach social services, which I did. And to be fair, they were wonderful. They made sure that the kids came up to see me. They really did everything, and I asked them to put in writing, that's a voluntary arrangement. As soon as I come out, I can have my kids back. Like they did all of that. So
that's good.
To be honest with you, yeah, they were brilliant.
It's good. Go on.
I was gonna ask, how was it having your baby with you? Like,
yeah, that's possible.
So it was on a separate unit. So it's they tried to make it as like homely as
mummy
possible.
and daughter and
so yeah, it was. I feel like they did the best
they could,
considering the circumstances that obviously I am a convicted criminal, as they want to call it. So it was all right. The only thing is, you have to have your child with you like 24/7.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's no like
during
respite.
the day, there's like they have like a nursery, but that's only for the mums that were working. So I'm trying to remember if I was working, what I was doing. I think I was working. I think I was orderly in the gym. Excuse me. So she would go like in the morning and maybe the afternoon, like weekends, just all day. Like if you wanted to do like an extra course or something, you couldn't because there's no one like, do you know what I mean? And it was just 24/7. It's a lot.
So would your baby come into your cell with you?
So it's a completely separate unit. And
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's completely
and that's where you
separate
stay as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they don't call themselves over on the mother and baby, they're rooms.
Okay.
They make them up like bedrooms.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's quite nice.
Decent.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have the little foam beds. We actually had proper beds.
Oh,
there was cots in there for the baby. So
okay.
It was decent. There was facilities for us to cook for the babies.
Oh, that's nice.
So it made the time easier. In the sense that I did experience being in a cell for like the first 4 weeks, and that regime of being on the wings and all that.
How is that? Like, what is that like? Because we see it on TV, but like, what is that actually?
For me, it was just mind numbing. It was just like the same thing every day.
Do you feel like it can make someone run mad? Like,
absolutely. I believe being in prison is a test of your mental strength, because the officers, the guards, whatever you want to call them, they're always trying to draw you out. They're always trying to test you. And the thing is, they know that you can never win against them.
I just think that's
I just feel like it's such like a loser mentality.
Absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
this is the only time you can have power. And
honestly, like what I don't understand because, and it's so funny you should say that because my mum worked in the prison.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a guard, but she administered medication to like those that were on drugs and stuff. And we were having a conversation with her colleague and they were saying how like some of the guards are just like, because they know, like you said, that you can't do anything because you're just going to get in more trouble. It's like, they just want to like reiterate their power.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why, because it is so black and white, the power that you have in this current situation. Everyone knows it. No one's questioning it. So why do you go out of your way to do that?
Yeah.
I think that's such weird behaviour.
I think a lot of them are bullied at school. To be honest,
everyone says that a lot of these individuals that you see in certain places who are police officers or like guards, they probably were bullied at school. So that's the only way they can exert their power and feel like they're somebody.
Yeah, because
that badge means it's respected.
Yeah,
which is good. Obviously, there's some really nice police officers out there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But there are some not so very nice ones as well. So
yeah,
I just feel with the prison officers. Obviously, I understand you're there. You've got a job to do. That's fine. But I feel like you've got to be slightly tapped to want to do that job, to want to be locking people in cells every day. What's the attraction? I even checked what their salary is. They don't get that much money. So I don't know. It has to be a power thing. And it's quite shocking that you'll see a lot of prison officers now are young black girls, young black guys. And it's like,
why they're actually quite young.
Because there's someone that you know that does that for a living.
Yeah. I know a couple people actually.
But why? Because I did want to. So I applied for a job once, but it was for work with youth offenders. But when the actual reality of it was like working in a youth prison.
Right.
And then they said I had to do a bleep test, and I said, hell no.
Is that the running thing?
No, but asthma. I'm not very fit. I said, hell no. So I'm just like, I thought it was something different, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe they advertised it a certain way, and then the interviews, it was like,
the reality of it.
Yeah, because the interviews were really intense for that job. Like, and then it was like, I'm not doing a bleep test. I'm not fighting any young. I'm not built like that. I'm here to like speak to you. Are you all right? Is everything? That's what I want to do. I don't want to do the extra shit.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe they advertise it a certain way.
No, I've seen it. I have. It's because it's really bothered me what the attraction to this job is. And I've researched it. Like maybe it's the money.
It's so funny that you went to think, why are you?
Why do you be here?
Because it's so. I don't know. It's just.
I get what you mean.
I want to be a prison guard. Yeah, I want to lock people up for it. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like I want to lock people up. I want to like tell them, right, lads, get in your cell. Right, ladies, in your. Like, why would you choose?
Yeah.
I don't know
either.
I haven't come to the conclusion yet.
I think like the colleague of my mum's that I was speaking to, she is a mother, sorry. And so when we were having a conversation, because I asked her, because I'm the same as you. I don't understand the attraction. Even when my mum told me that she's going to work in a prison, I said, sis, I don't really know why you want to do that.
What's her reason for wanting to do it?
I think at that it was close to the house for one, and two, she was never a guard, and I think my mum's like very like nurturing and stuff, and this was the same with that lady. It was more of like a, you wanna. She still treated them as like humans, and like she'd like have like with the young one, she'd have a bit like banter, and they call her mum and like stuff like that. So I think for some people it is a case of a kind of their own trying to rehabilitate them, I guess.
Yeah.
And trying to be that person that actually treats them as a human and doesn't like turn them into like this number or this prisoner, so that when they do re-enter into society, it's like you still have that, you're not completely foreign to it almost, and like foreign to interactions with normal everyday human beings. But the majority of them now, I do think it's just a power thing. It's quite scary. Yeah, it is really scary, because I just don't know why you wouldn't want to treat someone as a human being. Like everyone is a human being at the end of the day. Like right, whether they're a criminal or not, they are still human. And I feel like you don't need to go out of your way to just
That's the thing, going out of your way.
Nasty.
And what?
They're bored.
Yeah, there must be. Because
There's
what
so many
I say,
bigger crimes to solve, and you're here.
No, honestly, you're here.
You're here.
So my thing is, it's like prison. Okay, we're here. But we're sent to prison. People are sent to prison as punishment, not to be punished.
Mm.
You know, there's a difference. And I feel that the guards don't recognize that. They feel like their job is to make your life hell every day of your sentence. And it's like, chill, babes.
Mm.
I know I'm here. I know I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I know I have to listen to what you say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's a pointless task.
when you was in prison, did you just have female guards or were there male guards as well?
Male guards as well.
Okay, and were there any ones that were a bit like funny with you or
Not with me.
or
Not with me.
have you seen any from
I've
your
seen a bit of stuff that, you know, you wouldn't want to see or you wouldn't want to hear about.
Yeah.
But in those situations, it's like, it's not my business. And to be honest with you, it's just, and it's every man for themselves.
I was just about to say that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could think, oh, this person, me and them's cool. They'll snake you for an extra 5 minutes on the yard or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So every man for themselves. Like, what you want to do, babes, is it's up to you. But me, I'm not.
Did you have any experiences like that? Like any issues with any of the, that's good.
No, I did have it, like, yeah, we had a little back and forth, like the senior officer of the mother and baby unit. But when I realised after a little while that she actually enjoyed arguing with me,
Oh
Mm.
my god, not
I
enjoyed
just
it.
ignored
You can't
her.
give it to her. You can't
Yeah,
let her have
thought,
that.
you know what?
Yeah.
You get enough of me arguing with you is not, we're not doing that. So I
Yeah.
just started to ignore her.
It's not what you're. I'm not gonna lie. It's not what I'm here for. Do you know what I mean? Like you're trying to wake up, get it done, and get back to your
out,
children
yeah.
and get the fuck
Literally.
out. So
yeah, I wasn't. When I really, it took me a while because I thought, why am I always arguing with this woman? Why is this woman always drawing me out? And then I realised, oh, she enjoys it.
She's probably bored.
She likes it.
Yeah.
So yeah, cut that one quick.
And did you have any issues with other prisoners?
Not really. There was just one, and I think she had mental health issues.
Mm.
And I just, okay, I don't like people touching my face. I hate it. Like it cringes me out. And if I ask you not to do it, I feel like
You should respect
please
that.
respect that.
Mhm.
And she was touching my face. I said, listen, don't touch my face. And she did it again. I just ended up locking her in her cell. Just sit down and behave because I didn't like it. But that was the only, like, it wasn't really an issue. It was just a little, you know, yeah, behave yourself
Boundaries.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, I was all right. I was good. The only good thing about having, like, family member that I do have is that a lot of people knew him. Like, a lot of the women knew him, obviously, disgusting. And they'd come up to me, oh, are you such and such his daughter? I'd be like, yeah. Oh, okay. And they kind of looked after me. And I'm just thinking, like, trying to get in his good books. Like,
Oh, right.
I don't talk to him, so you're
Just
wasting
not
your
going to
time.
the person.
I don't know how this is going to work, babes. But
Yeah.
it was all right. They kind of looked after me, made sure I had everything I needed, like when I first got there. And after that, I just kind of, I don't know, I was just me. And I got on with some people I didn't. But those I didn't, with me, it's just like, you just don't exist.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to argue or just, we don't get on, which is fine. But yeah, it was hard in the sense of my children.
Yeah.
But you just got to keep your mind strong. And I read a lot. I've been reading since I was like really young. So I just made sure I just kept reading, just kept my mind occupied. And
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, your mind I could see how people,
Go crazy.
sadly, I
Yeah.
could see how people take their lives in them.
Yeah.
I can understand it. I can see why. Because it's mind numbing. It's like, what do you do? There's only so much TV you can watch. You know, when you're on lockdown, you're locked in. There's only, you know, so I never shared a cell. Just straight away, I didn't share a cell with anyone.
Okay.
That's not my thing. But it was at that time they had allowed smoking was allowed, so they weren't able to put a non-smoker with a smoker. So yeah, I was just a non-smoker. Can't put me with that person. Can't put me with that person. In the end, I had my own cell, and then I ended up on the mother and baby unit where you get your own room anyway. So I was lucky in the sense that I didn't have to share.
Did you do your full sentence or just half of it?
How long did I do? So I got 3.5 years. Because of my early guilty plea, I think.
Oh, you pleaded guilt from the beginning.
Yeah, I had to.
If you didn't, what would the sentence have been?
It would have started at, I think, between 4.5 and 5 years. So for my guilty plea, got 3.5. Big difference.
That's so stingy. Sorry, they could have at least
like, come on.
Like, let's make it a year. I'm telling you, like, you don't even have to investigate.
I'm not doing investigation. I'm holding my hands up. I'm saving you
exactly.
time. But yeah, how long did I do? I think I did 14 months inside, and then 4 months on tag, and then the rest of the time at home, like on probation. If I knew what tag was like, I'd have done the extra 4 months in prison.
Really?
Really?
I hated it.
What is it?
Why?
What's it like?
It was like summer. I came out in March, so I didn't come off until like July, and it was just awful.
So what's the curfew time?
Mine was 7 o'clock.
You
When
had to be
everyone's
where?
getting out and having
Right.
fun, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, you had to be back home by 7
Yeah.
p.m.
What's the point?
Yeah. And then I've got my son telling me, I'm staying out late tonight. Are you?
Your son said that to you.
Because he was like, what? He would have been 14 at the time.
Oh.
So yeah.
You're like,
he'll
no.
phone me like, no. Or like, we'll be in the house together. Like, I'm going shop. I was like, all right. Can you go? I was like, no, you know I can't go.
Can't even do that.
I'm going nowhere.
Was he trying to rub it in?
Yeah. Thought it was funny.
So when were you allowed out the house?
Not allowed out the house, but
What's the start time? Because
So
Yeah,
I
like when
can
does
leave
it
my
start?
house at 7 a.m.
Okay,
and have to be in by
by
7
7 p.m. Okay.
So I get 12 hours out, 12 hours in.
Okay.
I bet it goes quick.
I was out.
Because I'm not leaving my house at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
Do you know?
exactly.
By the time I leave my
Exactly.
house, like maybe 8-ish, 8:30, drop the girls off at school, nursery, go to work, come back. By the time it's time to come back from work, I have to stay home. Can't go nowhere. Just about might fit in, go to a bit of shopping. And
Was there any times where you missed your curfew? And what do they do when you miss it? What's like?
they phone you up. Oh, you missed it. I was like, I know. But you know, sometimes the box might not have been working. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
Just things happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I never took the mickey though. I never took the, because I was just like, I can't be, I've come this far.
Yeah, exactly.
My
You don't
kids
want
are-
to.
my
You don't
kids
want
are
to
home
stumble
with
at
me.
the
Like,
last
I don't, do you
hurdle.
know what I mean? For them to
Yeah.
recall me and
Yeah.
then
It's long.
back to square one. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And what was so what was your experience like coming back? Because obviously, I think even though you only did 14 months, obviously you prior to going to prison, you were living your double life. So how sorry. So how was it like being like, I'm actually free from all shackles, basically?
I remember like, so I got a cab from, so I was in I did the last half of my sentence in Peterborough.
Okay.
So when I come out, I got the prison to organise a cab. And I was like, yeah, the sentence 150. I was like, no, tell them I'll pay them £100 and that's it. So I'm telling them like, just ban like with them, the prison and the cab people. So I got a cab, £100 to come from Peterborough to London. And I remember just sitting in the cab. I had my phone. Like, I've not had my phone for 14 months. I had my phone. I was looking at it like, wow. Yeah, I'm home. Like, the journey couldn't have gone any, like, it just seemed to take so long. Like, so long. But yeah, pulled up outside my sister's and like, she was outside, the kids was outside. It was overwhelming for me, but it was nice. It was really nice. And then it was just like, wow. And then, yeah, slowly getting used to, being home. And there is things like that have changed with me since being like, I don't sleep with my bedroom door closed. Like, it's little things, but to me, it's like, I just can't sleep with my bedroom door closed. It just feels very
like you feel like
enclosed.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, the sound of keys used to like set me up a bit, like jump a little bit. But that's fine now. But yeah, it's just weird how it kind of affects you. Like, not allowed no plastic plates, bowls, cups, cutlery. I don't have none of that because that's all we had over there. So yeah.
It's just with those little triggers.
Yeah.
You don't even think about on a day-to-day basis because it just reminds you of something like, it's because it's a traumatic experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just like, with how those little things just, you're like, yeah, no.
You're just automatically
Yeah,
like,
no.
I'm not doing that.
I can only imagine because obviously not to compare because mine's very minute. But I went to Thorpe Park one.
Oh, Zana, get the fuck
No,
out.
I know that's what I mean. But
This girl was talking about prison. This girl said Thorpe Park.
I know. But I get.
let's just see where she's going with this.
No, but I get it because I went to Thorpe Park and I went into like the I went into the Saw Maze like live thing. You know when they have all the people jumping out at you and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
I just can't believe you're saying
Sorry, I know, but I just like I obviously it's not the same in any capacity. Not even it's just not even the same. But I couldn't change the bin for a while because it smelled like bin bags in there.
I mean, I understand.
You're trying to be relatable.
Leave her.
This girl said,
Leave her.
I went to Thorpe Park and like
that was it for me. The Thorpe Park. I was like, where's she going with
But
this? I can't
obviously
quite.
it doesn't compare. But I
get what you're trying to say.
Do you know? Just
but it's
think
very
about the bigger picture, you
different.
guys.
But
It's slightly different.
Yeah, it's very different.
Very, very different.
But yeah, so like I can only imagine like how triggering that must have been. Like,
because you know what it's like.
Because she knows the maze, yeah.
Yes, sorry. Okay, no, don't know what it's like at all. But yeah.
Yeah.
So what else, like in terms of interactions with people and like
didn't really interact with anyone, to be honest with you. It was just like, to be honest, the people I thought that I'd hear from whilst I was away are not the people I heard from. And it was the people that I was surprised to hear from, certain people that were writing to me and whatnot. And I was like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it like 100%, but it was like, so my actual people that I thought was people, I ain't heard nothing from them. But other people that obviously were cool and everything, but I wouldn't really expect them to go that deep and, you know what I mean, write to me and things like that. So that was kind of eye-opening for me as well. So yeah, it just made me realise.
Do you talk to them now? The people you expected to talk to you, when you came out, did they try to speak to you and be like,
not really.
Sabrina?
Not really. I changed I moved from West London to East London. I just changed my number. I was just like, fresh start.
Yeah.
So, I couldn't,
Yeah. I want to go into Daddyless daughters.
Oh, let's do it.
We haven't spoken about that yet.
I'm very excited about this.
So, how did it start? What's it like? Does anything that you go through with the girls, does some of it trigger you, or is it just like how? Just explain.
So, Daddyless Daughters, it's not actually my baby. It was started by a friend of mine, amazing lady, Alia Ali, and she's been through a lot of similar things to what I've been through. So she's founded the company that is now I believe it's a registered charity, a CIC, and so she was doing bits and pieces, working with the girls and whatnot, and then recently she decided to do an outreach project which is called Sister Squad, and that's what I'm part of. So basically, as I say, we mentor, like intensive one-to-one mentoring with young girls that are going through trauma, that, you know, haven't got that male figure in their life. And it's very new. It's a very new project, and it's just got a lot bigger than what we expected it to be, like so quickly. We've had so many referrals, working with quite a few young girls at the moment. And every month we do a sister squad, like a day out for all the girls, so they can all meet each other. And the first one that they did was last month, and I believe they went to a rage room. So the girls got to like write down on plates things that, you know, upset them, negative things that impact them, and got to smash the plates. And I wasn't there, sadly, but I heard it was literally so good. And they did like axe throwing, and like apparently it was just really, really dope. So that was last month. And this month, I believe we're doing it like based around like self-image and self-esteem. So we're planning to do a photo shoot where we can get the girls to like write on mirrors like how they see themselves, and then maybe get other girls to write on their mirrors as to how they see them, to see how that compares. And then end it with like a fun little photo shoot. Like who wouldn't like that?
That's good.
So yeah, and I don't think anything that the girls are going through or have been through actually triggers me. I think I don't really have many triggers anymore. I think because I do training and I do talks about my experiences, that was my kind of therapy, as it were, my way to get it out. So the more I spoke about it, the easier it was for me, the less emotional I got. So now when I'm working with the girls, I'm just in a place where I feel like I can give 100%. So, yeah.
Speaking of like daddyless daughters, because we've spoken on the podcast before, but do you think women and girls not having dads in their life affects them negatively? Or do you think it just depends on like their mums?
Right. So it's really quite funny you ask that. So I've got a cousin, female cousin. So her dad and my dad are brothers. My dad was at home, lived with us and whatnot, and her dad didn't. And it's only like within the last couple of months we had spoken about things. And she said she had always been jealous of me, not in a bad way, but jealous of the fact that we had our dad at home and everything was like seemingly really nice. And I actually laughed, and she's like, "Why'd you laugh?" I was like, "No, I'm laughing because I used to be jealous of you that you didn't have your dad at home. Like I would have given anything for my dad not to have been living with us." So I think it depends on the father. Because for me, I had my dad at home. And it was I would pay, if I could go back in time, I would pay every penny I had not to have my dad at home. Because he's the root cause of all my issues, of everything that I got involved in.
Right.
It was all from him. You know, he let's call it what it is. He groomed my mum. You know, he exploited my mum, and my mum was very young when she met him. I believe my mum was 13, 14 when she met my dad, and he's about 3 years older than her, 2 to 3 years older than her. So that's all she knew was him. And then she's gone on to have myself and my younger sister. Then he dominated that and groomed like the way he wanted us parented, which is I've got a dog. I wouldn't even raise my dog that way. Like God's truth. So it's just, I had my dad there. So it's hard because even like my son, he's like, well, "You're a bit of a fraud." So I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Daddyless daughters, you're not daddyless." I was like, "No, but I wish I was." You know? But the trauma in my life resulted from my dad. So in a way, it's the same as trauma of young girls that have experienced but not having a dad in their life. It can go either way. I think it depends on the dad and obviously the strength of the mum.
What you're saying, because I actually agree with what you're saying in the sense that like someone I feel like you can still be daddyless even though your daddy's around.
Yeah.
Because just because your dad is physically present doesn't mean he's actually parenting you and being
He's
a
not
good
a good
dad or
dad.
being a good example of how you should be treated, what your boundaries should be. Because I feel like as girls, the relationship we see at home, sometimes we actually do mirror it subconsciously. It's like being psychologically proven somewhere.
No, it's true.
No, I've actually read about it, but I can't remember where it's from.
Yeah.
But we, even like in relationships where you say, "Oh, I don't ever want to be like my mum and dad," but because that's what you've been exposed to and that's all you know, subconsciously you become like the way your mum is.
Yeah.
Obviously you can fight it and
And be aware
but
of
it's
it.
very hard
Yeah.
because it's like inside you it's like in your DNA a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah. I
You
think
can still be affected even if your dad's there. So I think it's hard because, you can be daddyless and have your dad there.
Yeah.
And, you know, like my cousin, her mum is like one of the strongest ladies I know in life. So that gave my cousins like that strength as females to, you know, not let things get to them and not, you know, what to accept and what not to accept in a relationship. So it just depends.
What are your thoughts on like the new generation of young people having kids? Because to me, not being like a judgy auntie, but I feel like a lot of people are just too comfortable just having kids with absolute twats. Sorry. And it's just like, then you complain about, like I've had a situation recently where someone I know is pregnant with a child and before it even happened, like they weren't great, but she chose to keep it because she loved him and blah, blah, blah. And now she's still miserable with this guy. And it's like, but you already knew this and now you're bringing that into your environment. You're not even ready for it. And it's just like,
Why?
I just think it's society as a whole. It's changed in a sense where, you know, as a female, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Mm.
So if you go on to have the child and you stay with the father, and he's a twat, that's your life. If you decide to be a single mum, you get vilified for being a single mum because for some reason society thinks that is your fault. And then if you choose not to go ahead and have a child, it's like, how, do you know what I mean? Abortion is wrong, or that's a whole different.
And people judge you for doing it.
So it's like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if, like,
there's no win.
There's no win. Yeah, I just feel in those situations, do what's right for you.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get judged either way.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. And society, I think, are too comfortable to judge people.
Yeah.
Especially women.
Yeah.
God, it really annoys me.
Especially women.
They need to focus on the men.
No.
Like,
honestly.
honestly.
Like, we always obviously go on about how we hate men and all that stuff. Obviously, we don't actually hate men.
I know what you mean.
but like, it's because we, as a society, women are always put down, always like, everyone's always hating on us, cussing us out. Like, we've always just done something wrong to someone. Even if you don't know them, women as a whole, we just always clearly do something wrong. Even when it's in the best interest of ourselves, it's still wrong.
Absolutely.
So I'm just like, yeah, like, if we want to bash men sometimes, I think we should be allowed to do that.
Somewhere they bash women.
Exactly, because I feel like, as a whole, they don't get as much hate. Yes, we know, like, oh, society's tough on you guys. Like, you're expected to be the breadwinner. Yes, we know, we've heard.
We've heard, it's
like,
okay.
But also at the same time,
yada.
yeah,
We're all
do you know what I mean?
breadwinners now.
No, honestly, and also at the same time, I feel like that whole narrative is actually within your best interest, because it's like, we want you to be successful for our household. But if you take away the household, you're still successful. So really and truly, it's actually for your good. But I feel like when it comes to us and we want to do something for our good, it's like, but why? Like, even obviously the whole conversation around like abortions and stuff like that, like you said, everyone should do what's best for them. And even though in that situation it's best for you, it's like, oh, but you did it anyway. But it's just like, what is one to do?
I don't know.
It's crazy because I think that last week, I believe it was last week, I saw a post, I believe it was on Instagram, and it was just highlighting all the young people that had lost their lives to knife crime. So I'm going through the comments, as you do. And one comment said, just give the kids to the fathers because these single mums clearly don't know what they're doing.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And it triggered me. As I said, like, just a minute ago, I don't get triggered, but that triggered me. Because I'm like,
how dare
so
you?
the parent that chose to stick around, the parent that is probably working all the hours under the sun just to make ends meet because you as a dad are probably not doing much. Now we're the problem. You know, like you say, we're always going to be the problem as females. And then just to top it off, just to make it even more problematic, Black females. So literally the most hated group in society.
Yeah.
What can we do?
And how do you know it's not like, you can't blame, like you said, you can't blame the parent that chose to stick around. How do you know it's not as a result of the other parent not choosing to stick around? Like,
they'd never take that one. That's never going to occur
It's
to
always
them.
the mums. I think even like, I can't remember what interview it was. It was these two celebrities, and I think they must have gone up for like an award night. And obviously the mum and dad were both being interviewed. They were like to the mum, so where are the kids? And then she was like, are we not both parents? Why are you asking me where the kids? Like, is everything okay? So they were like, just little things like that. Just like, why is always pressure put on the mum to make the child be great?
Yeah.
Like,
and I feel like even like when my sister was going through her divorce and stuff, and like rightly so, I mean, it is hard to raise children, and my nephews are both, at that time, they were both under 5. So it's like, it's hard. And it's just like, if she there was a period of time where they would go to their dad for like a month, for example, and all our family members were like, oh, why? How can you not be without your kids for a month? And it's just like, I'm not gonna lie, it actually takes 2 to tango. And like, it should be okay for them to be able to go and live with their dad for a period of time. Like,
why not?
give her, like, she needs a break, do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And it's just like, why is it even frowned upon? Like,
why is it
an
not
issue?
celebrated?
Yeah.
Why is it not wow? They're going to their dads for a month. That's brilliant.
That's
like,
amazing.
What are you going to do with your time?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. For it to be seen in the negative, I find it wild.
It's always the mother must suffer and do everything at her own detriment, and she's not allowed any help. Like,
yeah, that's it. Not allowed any help. It's just, and then when things go wrong, it's her fault as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you to do? It's hard. It's hard out here being a mum.
that reminds me of like, I have a family member, and obviously their parents aren't together. And when she was younger, her dad wasn't really about like that. Obviously, as she got older, she did so well with her uni, and her dad was there by her side, smiling. I'm so proud of you. And she's
Daddy
really,
come lately.
yeah, and I think because I remember when we were younger, she always used to cry to me about it, like, oh my god, he's never around, like why? And now she's gotten to a point where she's like what 20, she's the same age as me, around my same age as me, and she was like now she doesn't not care, like she's like, my dad, who when I actually wanted you around when I was younger, you're choosing not to be there, and now that I'm older, you're now calling me asking how I am because you say I'm doing really well, and it's just like no, because if she ended up to be like one slag or like
Down and
done
out,
out
yeah.
here, they'll be like, oh, look at what her mother raised.
Yeah.
Like, because she's doing so well, he's like really proud of her and like,
Of course, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my daughter.
Like
and
he's
it's
put
just
in
like,
any work into
yeah,
making her
like
great.
Yeah.
she used to cry and it's like now she's doing so well for herself.
Yeah, I think my situation with my dad's quite similar in the sense that I feel like when my mum and dad broke up, because it was so like toxic and it just wasn't a very nice like environment to be in. When he left, I was like relieved. I was like, okay, cool, like I can like move on.
Do you
and
feel
be
like you was happy when your dad left?
Yeah,
Even though you was
100%.
angry that your parents weren't together at the same time.
I honestly, I'm wholeheartedly never at one point in my life was angry that my parents weren't together.
Yeah.
I mean,
can
I
relate.
think my anger came from the fact that it was such a volatile environment and violent and stuff like that. And that's why I was angry. But as soon as he left, I was like finally. And also there was a period of time where they're like, we're gonna potentially get back together. And honestly,
Were you shaking?
Pardon?
Were you shaking in your boots?
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't want you guys back together. I don't want you to be together. I told my mum, I was like, no, don't do it. Like, no.
Don't do it.
Like, our lives are so much better without him.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and for the first year that he left, I didn't speak to him. And then I thought we tried to like build our relationship. But I think he never had any accountability for the part that he played in the situation. And that really bothers me. But I feel like I still continued because it's like, well, obviously, you know, when we had that massive argument when I was in uni, do you remember?
Or with
my
your dad, your sister.
Yeah. And stuff like that. And I was like, I was holding on for dear life, I think. But like, as you said, I got to a point where I'm like, I actually don't need you anymore. So like, and I'm just like, I don't crave that relationship. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's sad. Like, I mean, in an ideal world, you'd want both parents,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
But it is what it is. These are the cards that I've been dealt. But I'm actually okay to not speak to him.
Is your relationship with your dad all right now?
We don't speak.
Still?
No.
I think it's crazy that, respectfully, that he can't reach out to you as a kid.
Yeah, I know. And there's always that expectation, right? It's like
I think
you
the
need
parents
to
should
call
always
me.
be the ones
Yeah,
to...
how I'm your child. Do you know what I
brought me
mean?
here.
Why am I calling-
No,
yeah.
honestly, I did not actually choose you as my parent for one, and I didn't actually choose to be here. So the least you
I
can
feel
do,
like she'd shout me, yeah.
do you know what I mean? And to have that expectation that I need to be the one calling you
That's a bit much, isn't it?
is a bit much. But I've always, obviously, that's my parent at the end of the day, and I think I can do about that. So if you need me, I will be there. But I feel like it's very surface level now, but like, not gonna lie, don't actually call me at this point in my life. I feel like
It's fair.
I'm over it. Like the person I am is genuinely because of my mum. Like I'm literally like, I look like my mum, thank God. And
You're so rude.
no, but like not because of that, anything like that, but just like I don't
Just
want
want to
people.
be your
Yeah,
mum.
I just
Yeah.
want to be
See
my
your
mum.
dad's
Yeah, I don't want
face.
people to look at me and see my dad. It actually really annoys me when people say that. I want to be my mum. Like I want to be like her. Maybe not relationship wise, but
Yeah,
personally.
I
and
think you're
stuff like that.
hardworking just like your mum is.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you
stuff
have
like that. So
high values and stuff.
I'm fine. I'm fine with where I'm at. To be honest.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Like, I've not spoken to my dad for like coming up for 3 years now.
How does that affect you? Does it bother you? Or you just like dying away like I don't care?
No, I don't miss you or miss having you around. There was nothing really to miss. Do you know what I mean? Like, prior to that, I think we hadn't spoken for, I don't know how many years. And the only reason we ended up speaking, funny story, whilst I was in prison, I remember one day one of the officers said to me, "Oh, you've got a video link call." I was like, "No, I haven't." They're like, "Yeah, you have." I was like, "With who?" They're like, "Your dad." It's like, "I ain't got a dad." So I was like, "No." They're like, "Yeah, stop playing about, Sabrina. You got a video link at whatever time." So I'm like, "All right." Gone to the little room. Do you know how embarrassing it was? My dad's in prison. I'm in prison. We're on video link. It was the most embarrassing thing.
Is it? Can everyone see?
No.
Okay.
So you're just in a room.
But
There's
the
an
officers
officer
know,
outside.
obviously.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
the
he knows your
officers-
Of
business.
course.
Like,
Yeah.
And I was just like, he's like, "Are you right?" I was like, "I'm fine." He's like, oh, I never expected to see you. I was like, why? Why would you not expect that? When that's what you taught me from however young, you know? And it was just very awkward. And I came out first. And then, yeah, we just stayed in contact. It was just very strained, very awkward. And then, you know, it was a case of I started seeing traits in him that I saw when I was younger. But this time you're aiming it towards my son. Like, you just have a
oh my God,
dislike
hell no.
towards my son. And I was like,
no.
yeah, we're not going to do that. My son's not that guy. Like, you cannot push him about or try to, you know, take the bass out of your voice when you're talking to people, because you don't, you know, you're getting old. Like, and it's just, when I started seeing that, then one time he phoned with his nonsense, and I was just like, do you know what? Yeah, it's best we just don't communicate anymore. And then from then, but it just so happened that I ended up changing my number, but it wasn't anything to do with him. So then, yeah, we've had no contact. And I don't.
Has he ever apologized to you?
Never.
Do you think he feels a bit accountable for like
No.
some of the decisions and how
No.
your life has turned
No.
out? Because he's actually the core reason for that. And he hasn't said sorry or...
No, he never will. And I know that's an apology
why
that
won't
I'll
he
never get.
Does he not realise what he's done? Or do you think he can't comprehend that it's his fault?
Did you ever discuss that?
So we had a semi-conversation when I don't know, I can't remember how it came about, but he asked me, do I think he was a good dad?
Oh.
And I was just like,
Sorry,
no.
why?
Does your dad ask you this stuff?
This is no.
Oh.
Why do they ask that when you know
Within yourself. You should
within
know.
yours? Come on,
Yeah.
and like my dad used to say, your husband should be like me. I said, God forbid. On the
Please.
phone, I said, God forbid. I said, I can't lie. I don't care
I
what kind of
wouldn't
relationship
want
we're trying to build. I'm letting you categorically know if a man ever approaches me and he has your personality, I'm running away so fast.
I don't even date people that's got the same star sign as my dad. Like, we're not doing it. Like, I
don't blame you
no,
at all.
yeah. So he asked me that one, and I was just like, huh? And he's like, he asked it again. And I laughed. I was like, no. And he looked genuinely shocked. Like,
But what did he think?
Genuinely shocked.
What did he want you to say? What if you
That he
asked
was a
him,
great dad.
what have you done that was a good dad?
I just didn't even ask. I was just so
It's the delusion
confused
for me.
as to why you would
I think they're
ask me.
genuinely...
And then you're shocked when I'm telling you, absolutely not. No.
Respectfully,
'Cause I
that's
don't-
delusion.
I don't understand what else you could have thought the answer would be. I mean, you know what you've done. You knew, like, set aside the exploitation. Let's get into the violence. Do you know what I mean? Like, that alone should tell you that you wasn't a good parent. But you felt the need to ask, so, and then you stopped talking to me after that.
Oh, really? So it's your
Oh.
fault.
Of course it is.
And I feel like as well, like, just because you haven't necessarily, obviously not in this situation, but just because you haven't necessarily, I don't know, inflicted violence or anything on a specific person, doesn't mean it doesn't bear an impact on anyone else. And I feel like that's maybe something they can't quite comprehend, like, oh, but I didn't touch you. But by touching my mother, you're touching me. Do you know what I mean? So think about that.
Think about
brain.
it.
That's the point. It's going to affect you.
Yeah.
They don't seem to think.
Well, you
It's
have-
very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. Because I would know, like, even sometimes, okay, I have a tendency to be a bit of a drama queen, yeah?
Oh, we
Not
all do,
much,
don't
but
worry.
you know. So when I kick off in the house because maybe the washing up's not been done and I'm going right at it, and then my son, he's the worst, he's like, that's cute. Like, that's it. But even after I've kicked off and sometimes like I will sit down and I think, oh my God, I feel quite bad. Like, I feel a bit bad. Like, they didn't deserve that. Like, I literally went off over a cup in the sink. And for me to feel that, it's like, okay, why are you not feeling something for what you've done? No, you're not feeling anything. There's nothing in yourself to tell you that you've done wrong. And I don't know, do you ignore it or is it just not there? And I don't know what it is, what you're doing, but you're managing to get through life thinking that your kids are the problem. And it's the world is against you. Not realising that the common denominator here, mister, is you.
I think a lot of men are like that, though.
Yeah, I think
This is
They lack
next
accountability.
level. This is next level stuff.
but that is next level. And it's like, it's not just an isolated situation. Like it carried on for years and years and
Yeah.
years and years and years.
Yeah.
And it probably happens in like other relationships that
yes,
they have as well. Not just with you, but just with friends, with women, with new partners. The same things will arise. There's no way you can...
It was when he and my mum finally separated and he moved on, and the same patterns were happening in his new relationship. So it's like, it's you.
You're the problem.
You want to control everything. You want to control everyone. And if people don't fall in line, you know, you'll get violent and, you know, show whatever. And I think it got to the point when I was about 12, 13. I just realised, you know, I'm not actually scared of you. Like, what am I scared of? The worst thing you can do to me is kill me. And at this point, that's not actually a bad option. So we can do this. So I used to argue with him. I used to really, and I think it confused him because everybody around him was scared of him. Everybody. And I just thought, I'm not. So he just didn't know. And I think that's where the violence like escalated, because he just didn't know how to handle me. And I mean, I take accountability that I don't know when to stop and I don't know when I need to be quiet. But it was just to the point where I just didn't care. You know, you just don't care anymore. But he didn't see as, maybe this is not great parenting.
And what is your relationship like with your kids? So I know you mentioned that they're obviously aware of the situation. You've had like little conversations.
How was that conversation with your kids? Like
about what?
Like going to prison and your things like that.
I don't know. I feel like with me, the older two, super. I'm close with my youngest daughter, don't get me wrong, but there's limits to what I can tell her. But with the older two, I don't hide anything. I'm just as open.
I feel that's so important as a parent to be that way, because
we're so, like, we're very close. Like my daughter, she's a girl, so she does have a little bit of secrecy to her. But if there's something, I know she'll come and tell me. My son, sometimes I think he's too open. Sometimes I don't want to hear things, you know? But he's very open, very honest with me. If there's something going on that he's not sure, he'll come, we'll talk. And yeah, the relationship we have, I can say I'm very proud of it, because I never had that growing up, ever.
You've really broken a cycle.
Yeah.
So many cycles, to be fair.
Yeah.
I just didn't want, that lifestyle for my children, because for one, I didn't want it for myself, but I was just plodding along, carrying on with it because it's all I knew. But then with the kids, it's like, no, we can't do that with them. And it was hard because obviously coming home and getting a job and having to live off of 9 to 5 money, I don't know about that. That was hard.
The adjustment.
That was hard. I never learned money management. I never learned anything about, you know, having to make money last. For me, got money today, I could spend it all today. I know that tomorrow I'm getting more money. 9 to 5 money doesn't work like that. You finish it, you have to wait till the end of the month for the next one. So that I think that was a major adjustment for me, to the point where I actually called up someone and I was like, listen, let me just do one quick one, and then once I've made my money, I can set myself up. I'll be done. He said no. He had the audacity to tell me no. I cussed. We didn't speak for a year. But now, honestly, it's the best thing he could have done for me. And I tell him that all the time, and I'm thankful. So, but that's how hard I struggled with, with finances. It's not really my forte. This money business, it's difficult, but we learn. When we learn, and I just try to teach the kids as well, because they've got, which is quite bad, they've got the same mentality as me. I'll always get money again.
I have that mentality as well. That's why I'm sitting there like,
I know. I can relate.
Money can always be nice.
It can always.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And obviously, their kids that live at home, they'll never starve. So, but I always encourage them, like, live your life, live your life as much as you can. You don't have any responsibilities, so do everything. Travel, do whatever you want. If you want to try 10 jobs out before you get your career, do it, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you're looking back and it's like, It would have been nice to have done that. It would have been nice to have done that. Because like I had my boy just before my 19th birthday. So I didn't, we kind of grew up together, as it were.
Yeah.
And I did miss out. I wouldn't say miss out, but I had to postpone a lot of things that I would have done at that time. And it's not regret because I feel like that was my path. But now I can enjoy it so much more because now whilst my friends are having kids and babies, I'm just like, baby, where? No, my kids are grown. I can do whatever I want. But we're going on holiday. Yep, I'm there. I don't have to find a sitter, things like that. So I feel like I'm now in the place where I want to be. Like I'm happy. I'm all right, actually.
That's good.
That's good. Like,
Sounds
everyone's
corny.
timing's different.
Yeah.
You know?
And like I know I feel like I know my path. Like it got to a point I realised to myself, there's no way I could have gone through everything I've been through just to sit down and live a normal life. Just do normal work for people to. I thought there has to be a reason I went through all of that. And it's weird. Even though I know my upbringing was horrendous, it's the reaction I get from people when I tell them certain things. And the first time I did a speech, like a talk about my criminal exploitation, I had people crying, and I'm thinking to myself, "What you crying for? Is she right?" I didn't understand it, but that's when you realise how bad things were for you. And I just thought, well, if they were that bad, must be bad for other people, must be bad for other young people. And I'm working with young people, I realise it is bad for them. It is just as bad for them, if not worse. And all these so-called professionals that are in place to help and support them, you hear the conversations they have in their little office. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. I had, I remember a couple of years back, I was working with a young girl. She was 14. She was being heavily sexually exploited. So I remember we sat down in a professionals meeting. So all the professionals that are there to support her.
All they're in their suits and their notebooks and their laptops.
Yeah, and there's me in my tracksuit. And then the social workers come in, and her point was, well, I mean, I don't know what more we can do if she chooses to continue prostituting herself. I was like, sorry, what was that? She said it again. Oh, you're a brazy one. I gave you an opportunity, to retract and
modify.
Yourself. I was like, it's impossible for a child to be a prostitute. It's sexual exploitation, and she's not allowing it. She just doesn't know any different. Hence the reason why we're all here. And then I'm getting all the other ones messaging me. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I wanted to say something.
Speak up then.
So I thought, well, where's your chest?
Yeah.
Because had I not been there, she would have said it.
They would have all
You
been
would
doing
have let it
yeah.
pass. And then the next meeting, the language they use to this day is so bad. So I, partly why I do what I do with the training and everything, because I do make it known that language is important. The language we use is important. I'm saying that a young person is choosing to. How do we know they're choosing? How do they know?
And when you're a child, you can't make choices like that because you're still a child. Your brain is still developing. You're not
absolutely
fully an adult and with a mature brain, so you can't say. That's why I think it's really important to have loads of black people in certain spaces like that, because there's more in social work. I see a lot of black social workers, to be fair. Not that I do. From where I'm training, whatever, I see quite a few. There's a few of us.
No, there are, but they're just.
Some of them,
they want to fit into that box.
Yeah, some of them are. I'm lucky because, to be fair, some of the ones I work with are very like. I don't want to be like. Obviously, I was born here in it, and I have the accent, and I kind of know how I'm westernized in a way. I've got best of both worlds, so I'm able to kind of relate. In the box, when if I was to work for like a black child, I would know how to work with them and try and
code switch and
and advocate for them a bit more. But
absolutely.
If it's like not an African, I don't want to be. I'm African. If it's like an African social worker who's like
just come from Africa,
is training to be a social worker, I feel like they do try to kind of conform to whatever the rules and regulations and just follow suit because they want to fit in and just.
There's no heart in it.
Yeah. Whereas with me, because I can talk like we English each other out. Like you're not gonna use big English on me because I'll use big as much. Oh my god, my English isn't English.
Oh well, you're struggling now. Oops.
But you know what I mean? But I'm able to like advocate as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I feel like we need a lot more.
Yeah.
We've got enough rappers, we've got enough actors, there's enough YouTubers, we've got enough influencers. Please, like, let's get into like the public sector. And
I feel like it's sometimes like my role when I was working, as like the missing and exploitation worker, I actually built that role. That wasn't a role. It wasn't a thing. They got some funding and they asked, oh, should we give it a go? It was trialed for like 6 months. So when I did the reports and whatnot afterwards, they got refunded for a further 12 months. I think it was 12 or 24 months. I can't remember. But also for another worker as well. And that was off of obviously what I had done. And it was just shocking to me that it's not in every borough. Like all boroughs in London are not like having a missing and exploitation worker. A lot of people talk the talk, I notice, and yeah, I want to work with youths and this, that. And they think it's just all going out with them and whatnot.
It's hard.
But they don't understand.
It's
It's not only working with them. If you're coming from my background, I've got to unlearn everything that I've learned growing up. So I've got to unlearn that you can't trust the police. I have to now trust the police.
How do you feel about that?
It's hard. It's very hard. I'll be honest with you, it's
Yeah.
hard. Sometimes, like, my gut is telling me one thing, like my everyday life person, Sabrina, is telling me this. And then my professional Sabrina, who knows what the right thing to do is and what I'm battling, because I grew up with a F the police mentality. That's what I was taught. That's what was around me. And I'll be honest, some of the police officers that I have encountered surprisingly have been okay. But there have been some that are just like,
You can
very
kind of tell the
questionable.
ones
Yeah.
are a bit like, you're a bit-
Yeah.
They
and
all need
it's,
to figure out their
they have to
training.
understand that to take on this role, it's not for the lighthearted.
Yeah.
You have to know number one, you have to know what you're doing, what you're talking about. And you have to have left that life. You have to have left the life behind. You can't be half in, half out. You have to have 100% left it behind. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to support that young person in the best way.
I think teenagers are the hardest people to work with because I'm studying social work, and before I think I want to work with adolescents and blah, blah, blah. Now I don't.
Oh.
I want to work with children and families because the things that teenagers do, like there was a panel we had and it was literally showing us all the crimes that's going on in Kent with the teenagers, and some of the videos we were seeing, I said no because I'm angry. Like I can't. It's just too much and it's too triggering. It's just because that I'll be like, you're actually a bully. You know you're a bully, and you obviously you can't approach them in that way.
But why can't you?
Because they say, oh, paceful training.
I understand that, but at the same time, I think that's why my role differs in the sense that I'm not held to those policies.
You know what I mean? I have to be like,
say.
you've got to be mindful of
That's what
but
I mean.
sometimes you need to be told you're actually a bully.
Yeah,
Like,
but
and that's what
yeah.
I was able to do. I had that freedom to tell a young
freedom.
person, like, what are you doing? Why every time you're coming here, you're getting stopped by the police? And I had to tell one of them, don't come to the office and see me if you've got crack on you. Like, don't do it. You have to be real with them because how else?
Yeah.
How else? Would you listen to someone if they're like, oh...
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I'll do it again.
Because it'll be like, it's like,
just-
you don't know me, you don't know my story, so who are you to tell me anything? Do you know what I mean? Whereas, and I feel like it's always been like that. Even like in schools, for example, you'll have those teachers that just want to conform to everything. And it's just like, not going to lie, there is no how-to guide on these sort of situations. There's no process that every single child is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4,
And that's
step
the problem.
5. And that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's what needs to be tackled, which is why I think your job role is so important because like I don't understand how as an actual human you don't know this, but like you need to be able to, it's not even a case of like code switching or whatever, but just be real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and have that empathy. Put yourself in that situation. Like, you can't just from a third person's perspective try and give advice, but without thinking like, how would I actually be if I was brought up like that, or if I was in this position? Like, people they'll use their privileged upbringing to now give advice on someone who hasn't got that privilege. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Absolutely.
That
It
makes
happens
no
a
sense.
lot. Even like the company that we both know about, Sabrina, and the way the children are there and your experience of that said a lot, didn't it? If I was brought up like that, I'd be so rude. If I knew there was no consequences and all I'd get is, right, you lost £2 pocket money, I'd be like, okay. Now what?
But
you're still going to give it to me anyway because I'm going to,
tomorrow you're
I'll
gonna
kick
give
off.
it to me.
You
Like,
know what I mean? So just like,
it's like, honestly, when I've been there to witness it, I'm like,
What's going on? Yeah.
She's talking to you like that.
And the thing is, with when you're there, so when I'm there, sometimes I've had stuff and be like, if you're so sassy, I'm like, I'm far from sassy. I'm knowing it. If you want to see,
Really?
they're like, you're so sassy, because sometimes with the cameras, like,
A
no,
colleague said that.
yeah, you're so sassy. Like they did even this.
Not
I
the
was
clicking of the
like-
fingers, child.
I was just like, oh my God, because basically there was one of the kids
Because
there.
you talk up and say
'Cause
no.
I said, but I'm not even being horrible. I'm just like, no, I'm not getting you that. Because why?
Sometimes you have to give
Like,
the same energy back.
literally.
Bringing
That's-
them up, tea
Yeah.
and toast every morning.
Bro, one of the
Mhm.
kids. So to get her encouraged for school, she's 15. We have to make her, well, not me, the other place, have to make her breakfast and bring her a cup of tea and knock on her door.
That's not reality, bro.
And they don't
But
understand that.
have I not always said that to you? I feel like with the previous school that you worked at, remember I said, I was like, the way that they treat them is not for people who they think are going to be able to go out into society and be like and
Because we
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And communicate with people, because no one in everyday society that you don't know, and when you're hopefully out of this home that you live in, are going to
be like that.
Be
So
like that.
basically, I worked at school before, and me and Diana had a charity that we were a part of.
yeah.
And we went into schools teaching about racism,
Lovely.
being more culturally aware, blah, blah, blah. And it was an SEN school. And obviously the school was so nice to the kids, literally like.
Too nice.
But they're funded by like Harrods. The guy who owns Harrods funds the school. So like they were all they were so rude because they could be rude, because what's going to happen?
There's no consequence for that.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna lie, try that outside. You're getting banged in the face if you
Straight
say it to the
away.
wrong person.
Mm.
That's
And
like,
it doesn't,
especially this girl.
it
You know?
doesn't help them.
It
You're not being
doesn't.
helped.
But
And
when
I-
you say something, because even one of the kids, she's 16, so they've started making her bottled juice squash. Like they make it for her in bulk. And I was saying in my supervision, I was like, I don't really think it's right that we're making her drinks and putting it in the fridge. And then he came around to me and said, but do you not think that shows that we care? The trauma she's been through, little things like that's an act of care and love. And I was just like,
100%.
No, you're making
my
them to-
mum
But you're
would
making them
never
to,
make me.
exactly.
It's just like,
Exactly. And I
but
feel
let me
like
just shut up and so I'm.
it's this mentality of like, I don't feel like this doesn't sound
Even when
like
you met
someone
her,
who
you
wants
met-
them to get out.
Yeah.
You know, you want them to stay in this place and be in this box forever and ever. And no, I feel like the purpose of these institutions is to actually help them.
Give them the tools.
I
Yeah,
feel like
give
her
them-
industry
and
are
have
yeah,
and do
they're
what they
hindering.
want and not be stuck in this place forever and ever and ever. Like, you don't want to be,
bad.
I don't know, 30 or 40 or here.
But that's
not
what's
being
gonna
able
happen.
to
Honestly.
socialize and not being like, it's just
Do you remember? Sorry, let's go back to this place that we know of. But do you remember when you saw one of the kids from the place that we know of,
Yeah.
and she met you and she,
she called me a rat.
She called her a rat. And it's like they think it's okay because
Thank God I
in-
didn't hear her. Because I don't work at your company.
Mhm.
So you can't just be walking up to someone and be calling them a rat when you don't know them.
Outrageous. That's
just
outrageous.
like-
Did you not know that like you could genuinely get
But I think it's
a bang
because
for that.
in their bubble they're being made to feel. Obviously, every child is important, but they think they're
The
invincible.
world
Entitled.
revolves around them.
They're very entitled and they think the world revolves around them. But what do
It's
I
not
know?
like
I've
that.
said what I've had to say so many times and it's not listened to.
no
So
one's listening?
I'll just-
yeah.
if that's what we want to run your company, it's your
do
company.
your thing. I'll be
Do
out
your-
soon.
Literally. So it's just like, yeah, I just don't agree with the.
I don't. at
I'm
all.
glad you're an outsider and you came to see and what's
I
actually
was
like.
horrified.
Bro.
I was mortified. I was like, what? This, and then I'm seeing things and I'm like, no way is this true.
Because they wouldn't raise their own kids like that.
Exactly.
Sending them to go and pick up McDonald's for the boyfriend and all the, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was saying that even yesterday was one of the other kids. Obviously he's allowed McDonald's once a week, so I had the company card and I was like, "What do you want to get?" He was like, "Yeah, can you get me 2 20 chicken nuggets, please? 2 portions." I said, "You're getting one," and he was like, "Why?" I said, "Because you don't need to eat here. Is everything okay?" And then he was like, "Okay, then I'll have one." And then he ordered like a milkshake and another and like chips, and I was just like, "Don't try and take the piss with me because it doesn't work. Because I'll just say no to you because it's not me."
Yeah.
But yeah, just little things like that
Crazy.
annoys me. But yeah, what do
Yeah,
I know, eh?
Yeah, I've never been to anywhere where they pander to the
Yeah.
young people so much. They're not teaching them, getting them ready for that.
Even
outside
like
world.
as a social worker, with their social workers, you want to teach them the skills to be independent, so they're not
Yeah.
reliant on you. So things like waking up and coming downstairs, brushing your teeth in the morning, making yourself breakfast. That's a life skill you're gonna need for it. No, when they're on their own, no one's gonna do that for you. But they'll learn the hard way. It's not me. It's not my problem. They should enjoy it while it lasts.
You can only do
Yes,
what you can do
what
at
I
the end of the
can do.
day. Yeah.
for now. But it's interesting, like the way some people feel that they're helping young people, and then other people like us would do it completely different.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a cultural thing then? Because sometimes they're like culturally, I think, because with the black people where we work, they have said that you black, not in a horrible way, you guys are quite more direct, whereas we kind of are more like.
They beat
So
around
if
the
I wanted
bush.
them to wash the plates, I'd be like, can you go wash the plates, please?
It's because they're scared of the young people, whereas
What are you going to
not.
do? So you're not going to do anything to me.
And the young person knows they're not going to do anything to you. So the young person will show you respect for the simple fact that you are, as they say, direct with them, and you show them, I'm not scared of you. Like, it's not running how you think it's running. You wait till tomorrow to do all that nonsense when I'm not here. And then that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
When the next member of staff comes on, that's when you see a different side, and you're like,
Yeah.
And it's just literally being a child. Like every child used to do that, you know, in school with my parents. You'd be like, there's one parent when you
Even
know,
like,
you
yeah,
can
my mum, me and my brother.
a little bit. I'm not
When
gonna
my dad
lie.
was at the house, we knew we can take the piss because mum's soft.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll be mad in the house.
Take the piss a little bit. So I'm gonna see how long this piece of thread is, and like how long
but
can I
you'd be
get
drawn
away?
back in real quick.
Yeah.
These ones are not being drawn in, so it just keeps escalating,
going.
escalating,
Exactly.
escalating.
Getting
So
worse and
I
worse.
feel like that's the difference.
Yeah, there's no boundaries, there's no limit.
I don't know if it's yeah, probably is something to do with cultural and
So it's
also
basic manners,
personal experiences as well. Because think if I spoke to my mum and dad like that,
the slap I'll receive
so fast
before it even left my mouth.
No, honestly, when I finish a sentence, it's just one quick.
I just feel, I don't know, they focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
You know, and then things go wrong. And it's like, oh, quick, what can we do? Who can we get in? What services can we get to help? And it's like, but you could have dealt with this.
Prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
I could have dealt with this way before. But
I think it's too much being cared about the kids liking them than actually.
Absolutely.
That's
changing
what it
their
is.
lives.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if like they actually set proper boundaries in, they'll fight it for, let's say, like a couple weeks, but then they'll get over it and just follow suit because what can they do?
Literally.
But yeah.
Who are we? What do we know?
What do we know?
What do we know?
Just an outsider.
We're doing our masters and we've all got degrees. But what do we know?
What do we know?
So we've run out of time, which is so sad because I could literally talk to you forever. But I wanted to just summarize and say, what would you say is the best part and the worst part of your job?
The best part is knowing that the young people I work with, that they're benefiting from working with me. It's not like, oh, go and see Sabrina. Because I'll get, I haven't seen you for 2 weeks. Like, I'm going away next week and I'm getting somebody go, so how long are you going for? So what's going to happen with our session? Are we going to do it online whilst you're away? So for me, it's like, as much as sometimes they, you know, kind of like they're big and tough and what they appreciate the sessions that we have and knowing that, you know, they've got someone there that's literally got their back. And I say the worst part is when they've been through so much trauma and as a professional, you kind of don't know which way to go with it, where can I position myself to make that difference? And that's difficult because you know you can, but it's like I'm picking everything to try and make a space for you to fit yourself in. So then, all right, so I'm here. I can now help you with this, that, whatever. But honestly, it's something that I can't see myself doing anything else. I feel like I have a good relationship with all young people that I meet. And I think that's because I treat them exactly like I treat my own kids.
Yeah.
You know, be that good, be that bad. I treat them exactly the same. Like I'm very, we can have a laugh, we can have banter, whatever. But when it comes to serious things where you've done something, I can pull you up as well and say to you, come on, pattern up. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Not whilst I'm working with you because it makes me look bad. I'll be honest. I say it makes me look bad. And I have that good relationship with them. And it's not me trying to pretend that I'm young or none of that nonsense. Because sometimes they're talking, I don't understand nothing. I'm texting my boy. I'm like, okay, makes sense now. But I just feel like I can be relatable.
Yeah.
And the young people seem to like me. So whilst they like me, I'll keep helping them.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes it easier for me to work with them and get the best possible outcomes for them.
I also think your life experiences makes it a lot easier for them to actually speak to you because you get how it is. Whereas
Yeah. And they've seen how far you've come.
Yeah.
You know.
And you're like an inspiration. Whereas when they see those people with their laptops and their suits, it's
And
like,
their
you don't know anything
shut
about
up.
what
you
I'm
literally
what
learned
do
about
you
me in a
know?
book.
literally that's literally
So
it. Like I'm just a case study to you, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah,
You've
do you know
never
what's
even
really cringe
experienced
is
this.
when I hear those type of professionals try to quote or refer back. I look at them like, is that your point of reference?
That's not real life.
Is this what you've learned?
Top Boy's a show.
It's literally on Netflix.
You know, it's like...
You know it's not a documentary, right?
I remember one time I did exploitation training years ago with the police. Oh, so, you know, if you really like want to find out more about... highly suggest you watch Top Boy. So
it was a suggestion.
I said, what for? Oh, to see how these things work.
Do you think they're going to show you the real...
Do you not know that Ashley Wood was just sat there one day and wrote this down? I was like, none of the... I said,
Come
speaking
on
from
now.
experience, this is so far-fetched. I was like, please don't watch.
And do you really think they'll really put the real...
Chelsea, come on now.
Come on.
Stop.
Let's behave.
Let's be honest.
And that actually came out... That's embarrassing. That you said that with your chest.
Big, yeah. And it's things
But
like
when it's
that
time to
irritate
speak up
me.
properly, you
Because
don't
you're
know
just
what
so out
to
of
say.
touch.
Or they watch the little Channel 5 and they
Yeah.
recommend it. They'll watch this Channel 5 documentary.
No.
I'm like,
But they
wow.
don't understand. These boys are actually just normal kids, normal boys. They've just, are just naughty once in a while. But when you actually chill with them, like there was a kid I used to work with, you know the kid I used to...
Yeah.
It's nothing. Anyway. But yeah.
There's always that one.
There's
isn't
always
there?
that one. So like, he was so naughty, but he was he actually had manners.
Yeah.
But when he's
Yes.
angry, God, there's no speaking to him. But he's very respectful, has manners. There was a time I took him out. He sat at the back because I had my cousin come into the car. So he got out of the car, sat at the back. And obviously where
That's
I
nice.
work, the child I work with sits at the front, no matter who comes in the car.
Regardless, yeah.
I said, oh,
She'll
you're
even
going
be
to...
looking at you getting in the car.
Yeah. She'll even look at me like, yeah, she doesn't care. So obviously when I was like, oh, you didn't have to get in the back. He was like, no, like it's manners.
Respect,
And I was
that
like,
is.
oh, okay, I'm not used to that. He was like, yeah, because the kids you work with are white. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Culture
It's
again.
just like, that's why. And I was just like, okay.
It's definitely a cultural thing
true,
because you
it
like
really
if an
is.
adult is
He's
coming in
14
the car,
as well, so he's just the same
you
age
sit
as...
in the back.
Same age, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
so it's just like, I was so surprised because I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
Because the ones I'm with,
Don't understand
Should
that
even get-
the basic principles.
literally, so it's
It's
just
weird.
like,
Like for me, one thing that I'm super proud of is that my children always get praised on their manners.
Mm.
And it's just something that I instilled in them from very young. Because for me, manners can take you so far and it costs you nothing.
Mm.
Just to say thank you or please.
mm.
Can't do that. And I hear some of the young people, get me this. I was like, huh? Is that how we're asking? That's better.
Well, they do it because they get away with it. That's the
Yeah.
difference.
But why is it not a thing? Like to teach?
Because they're scared of
To be
them.
taught,
I think
yeah.
in their heads, that particular child, they think she's proper like,
No, but she's not.
but she's not.
Not
Far, far from it. When I first met her, she tried to come with all of that, and I'm looking at her like,
It's
behave yourself.
embarrassing. Oh,
Behave.
God, it's so embarrassing. When I was
Don't do that.
No, it's
I'm not
bad.
the one.
It's bad. I looked at her and I was like,
you haven't met this one yet.
no, lace bustier thing. So she come to
The
meet
lace-
me and
Because she's trying to look cool.
No,
I was like,
bustier.
and you're gonna put on a top. She's like, "Oh, go put on a top. I'm not going outside with that. Put on a top, please.
I'm
I
so
think that's when
glad.
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the gesture.
The lace bustier.
I don't know what it's called.
That is what it
The
is.
thing, yeah. But
Right.
you're
I like that
14.
though. Yeah, like and
Why
and that's
have
the
you
thing,
got it?
Like,
But you know, one of the other staff members let her go out with in that
You see?
top.
You
And then
see?
it was pulled up like, why would you let her go out? They went to cinemas together and more stuff. And obviously nothing happened, but like she can easily lie.
Yeah.
The breast is under the person's chin. Why is it there? I don't understand. And walking around the house and there's male members of staff.
Just
Like you teach, like you have to talk.
Mm.
You have to go and put a top on, please,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
And no one's sexualizing you. It's just inappropriate.
you're a
'Cause before-
child.
yeah,
Literally.
because you don't need to wear that. Go sit
Literally.
down.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. Thank you
I
so
don't know
much
why
for
these
coming.
things are not being taught.
I know.
What do we know? We only
Again,
got to
what
read
do we
the
know?
masters.
You said that.
Who are us? Who are we?
Thanks so much for coming though. We really appreciate having you.
No problem. Thank
It's
you for
been
having me. It's
great.
been great.
Let us know where we can find you and the charity and how we can support, etc.
Yes. I give you the. Shall I give you like the things that you can put on?
Or if you want to put your socials out there if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Not, See me acting the ass on TikTok. No. No, I'll give you all my bits and bobs and then the info for Daddyless daughters as
Yeah.
well.
Okay, we'll put it in the description box, guys.
That's what I
If I
meant.
will put it in the description.
Yeah, I'll put it in the
box, guys.
description. Because
That's not
Dinah
your
don't do
forte?
nothing.
I don't do all it.
It's not your forte.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description
Yeah,
box.
yeah.
Thanking you kindly.
But thank you so much for coming.
No
Thanks so
problem.
much.
Very
Thanks so
insightful, very
No,
different
I loved
episode.
it. I told you,
She was so
I'm
excited to have you on.
to
No
have-
way.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm so
bless.
excited.
If I'd have known, I'd have been like, lower the expectation, babe.
No, it lived up to all of my expectations.
Oh,
I
that's
loved
lovely.
it.
Thank you.
But thank you for coming on.
No
Yeah.
problemo.
No, if there.
Was it finished?
We have to do Twitter.
Oh, yeah, you do that.
Listen, subscribe, let us know your thoughts. Obviously, me and Ife, I'm not gonna lie, some of our Instagram videos, people may not be loving it, but hopefully you'll love this one because we get a lot of comments, like not a lot of comments, but a couple comments
Oh,
on
I'm not
Instagram.
going to get trolled.
No.
No, we got trolled.
If I got, no, I don't know.
I didn't get
Actually,
trolled.
I don't know if it was,
We both got
we both
trolled,
got trolled, to be fair.
They said this is the worst interviews ever. Have you seen that
dear.
comment?
Yeah. And it was because it was like a snippet of talking about anything when it comes to talking about men.
Okay, of course.
They don't
you're
love
the
it.
worst.
We get dragged.
Yeah, they don't love it. They don't love it.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe you guys, hopefully you'll love this one.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers
please.
crossed.
It's very different to like
Yeah.
a
what
lot
we
of other
usually do.
podcasts.
Oh, I was going to say what we
I'm
usually
joking,
do,
a little bit
but
shady. And what we usually do as well.
Maybe not. So follow us, 2 Cents Podcast on Instagram and 2 Cents Podcast on TikTok.
Thank you for watching.
Period.
Bye.